The year is 1974 and Nestlé, Purina's parent company, is trying to expand their sales of infant formula with extremely aggressive tactics, with little care for other factors aside from money. That same year, a report called The Baby Killer was published by the British NGO War on Want, accusing Nestlé of misleading consumers. Nestlé blatantly insinuated that drinking infant formula instead of breast milk would make children happier, healthier and stronger. Advertisements also offered free bottles, samples and other supplies to new mums in order to encourage sales. To promote their products, Nestlé developed close relationships with local hospitals and healthcare professionals in order to deliver products directly to new mums when they are discharged from hospital. This would ensure that their product was the first thing they would seek out on a daily basis. The real kicker here, and a very sleazy thing, is that Nestlé sales representatives dressed up as nurses when giving out free samples, falsely presenting that their product is endorsed by health professionals. To investigate these scandals surrounding Nestlé's marketing practices, the United States Senate held a hearing in 1978, led by Senator Edward Kennedy. During the hearing, Nestlé spokesperson Oswald Ballerin was interviewed to gauge Nestlé's responsibility in the deaths and illnesses of infants. Instead of acknowledging any mistakes or flaws or wrongdoing in their marketing strategy, Ballerin proclaimed that they weren't responsible in any way, shape or form and had no control over the water supply whatsoever. I mean, you would want to think that after this they would try to keep on the right side of things. However, fast forward to 2024 and we are looking at a new investigation that found that one portion of Nestlé cereal for 6-month-old babies contains around 1.5 cubes of sugar per serving. Their own head of nutrition, Thierry Phileroux, declared in 2020 that 15 million babies relied on its product. That's nearly the population of the Netherlands. But hold on, you'll be asking, what are you trying to get at? That's for baby food and not pet food. This video is about Purina, right? Well, as you probably know, Purina is an absolute behemoth in the pet food industry. They own some of the biggest brands in the world, such as Purina Pro Plan, Purina One, Felix, Friskies and Purina Veterinary Diets. According to their website, they are still innovating. They have 500 scientists, including nutritionists, veterinarians, behaviorists, and food scientists around the world. Every last one is devoted to creating top quality food, using the best ingredients and finding innovative approaches to improve the lives of your beloved dogs and cats. There is one very big problem, however. Just like new reports of Nestlé adding sugar to infant milk in poorer countries are still cropping up, there is an alarming number of Purina pet products containing sugar. Purina HA hypoallergenic, a very common veterinary diet, contains sugar in the UK and a form of sugar, guar gum, in the US. Adventurers and many other dog treats, sugar. Busy Bones, sugar. The very popular Felix cat food, sugar. This is, by the way, called cat crack, where cats get addicted to the sugar in the food.
So yeah, the cat crack, as I call it, which is what they put into diets to make them, make cardboard really appetizing to a diet. You've got to stick a lot of things in there to really attract the flavor sensations. And I'm afraid that if you give high glycemic index foods, what you get is the rush, and effectively the sugar rush is what gives the endorphin high that makes them effectively addicted to that, addicted to eating, makes them go back to the dish because they get a high, they go off going, brilliant, oh, that's wow, and then all of a sudden they come crashing down and they're left in that withdrawal phase that drives them back to the dish. And we then assume that that's a normal eating pattern for our cats.
Now the whole thing could actually stop there, but it really doesn't. At the FEDIAF, the European Pet Food Industry Federation, the president of the association currently works for Purina. People at the FEDIAF write the very nutrition manuals and guidelines us consumers and veterinarians rely on. AFCO influencers also work for Purina. In fact, there are a bunch of Purina representatives at AFCO's annual meetings. So hold on here. Would it be actually possible that the very company that tells you that sugar is good for newborn babies is then influencing the pet food guidelines all over the world? Well, it's a rotund yes. Let me show you. When it comes to AFCO, the nutrient profile standards for pet food were set back in the 1990s, and ever since then, very few updates have been made to the AFCO guidelines over the years. But the one that really sticks out is the minimum protein content. For dogs, it used to be 22%, but is now 18%. This is probably why companies can get away nowadays by using more cheap ingredients like grains, like legumes, as opposed to meat products, which are far more expensive. If you think about it, a kilo of wheat, gluten, rice, corn or barley is far cheaper than a kilo of meat. And guess what? Most Purina products contain many of the fillers we don't like in pet food. Well, the whole thing gets even crazier. I mean, in the pet food industry, there are mainly three players. Hill's, which is owned by Colgate-Palmolive, Purina, owned by Nestlé, and Royal Canin, which is owned by Mars. Yes, the chocolate company. And by the way, if you are worried about your dog's nutrition and you need some guidance, we've just launched the 100 Commandments of Dog Health, a comprehensive guide where you can, for just $10, get to grips with your dog's nutrition in one guide. You can click in the link below. Anyway, these companies control absolutely everything to such an extent that they are deeply entrenched in veterinary schools. In the UK, for example, there have been egregious examples of collusion and influence by these companies. In revealing documents evidence, we see that these companies have been given grants, sponsorships, awards with the company's name on it. They have given bursaries and scholarships to veterinary students, and more egregiously, they supply free pet food for people to make money of and write up textbooks and teaching aids. But come on, you'll be saying, my vet knows better. My vet is a board certified veterinarian and they have prescribed me with a veterinary diet for my dog or cat. Do you think you know better than my vet? Well, let me put it to you this way. The British Small Animal Veterinary Association, one of the country's biggest annual vet gatherings, is sponsored by all the big three: Hill's, Royal Canin and Nestlé Purina. The World Small Animal Veterinary Association and all of the associated events are sponsored by the same three companies. The European College of Veterinary Internal Medicine and their events are sponsored by, you guessed it right, the big three. The American Veterinary Medical Association, the Australian Veterinary Association, the British Veterinary Dental Association, the Pet Health Council, and even our beloved British Veterinary Association are all at least partially funded either directly or indirectly by one of the big three pet food producers. I mean, the playbook is very simple. You influence every single aspect of the funnel so that the consumer gets the impression that the product being recommended is the absolute best for your dog or cat. They literally control everything. They control narratives, ads, newspaper articles, blogs, influencers, and vets as universities, of which just discussed. Let me also be very honest with you. For many years as a kid, I drank gallons of Nesquik and cornflakes. It became a habit, and my parents probably didn't know any better. Those foods were so embedded in my brain that it was simply the norm. But then, as you get older and you learn more about the world, I discovered that maybe drinking a pint of sugary milk every day is not the healthiest option. And so it is probably the same with your dog or cat. I understand that it might be hard to go against veterinary advice, especially when they label and give it to you as a proper prescription. And that's actually happened to me as well. But then I would not, for the life of me, give my dog or cat any sugar whatsoever, and neither should you. I honestly think that the trend can change whenever it comes to our pet's nutrition, and that's why we have put together a cookbook with many nutritious recipes that are much better than giving your dog sugar. To get it, please click in the link below.